Welcome to the Bear Sheep broadcast, where we're talking about building stability, preserving legacy, and strengthening the communities we call home. I'm Kalia Heaven Barak Yahu, founder and president of Bear Sheet, and I'm honored you're spending this time with us. Today's conversation is a difficult one, but deeply important. We're talking about something many families experience but often don't discuss openly. How do you know if someone is taking advantage of an elderly parent or loved one? Sadly, this issue is becoming more and more common. Many older adults are vulnerable not because they're weak, but because they're trusting, isolated, grieving, overwhelmed, or simply trying to maintain independence. This conversation is not about fear, it's about awareness, protection, dignity, and preparation. At Bear Sheet, our mission is simple but powerful. We empower families to build lasting stability by providing holistic education and compassionate support in home ownership, wealth building, and end-of-life planning. We help individuals make informed decisions, preserve their legacy, and strengthen the communities they call home. To all of our listeners, if there's a topic you want to discuss, you can send us an email to info@bearsheetcorporation.org. Again, that's info, Bearsheet, BRESHEET, corporation.org. I want to start out this episode with a letter that was given to me. It says, Miss Kalia, I want to share my story because I feel like what happened to me was unfair, misleading, and emotionally draining. I originally went to this dental clinic because I had 3 urgent concerns. I was dealing with severe gum pain, I needed a tooth repaired, and I wanted professional guidance about the best treatment options for my situation. I was told during a complimentary consultation that my concerns would be addressed and they would help me. When I arrived, I waited almost 2 hours while in severe pain. Before I could even really be seen, I was handed a stack of paperwork to sign that included information I didn't feel was properly explained to me. I shared with them that I wanted to share this documentation with my family member, but they expressed to me that in order to be seen, I had to complete this information. Once I was finally taken into the examination room, I immediately felt uncomfortable because the room appeared dirty, there was no running water available. I came in expecting a simple repair to my tooth. I honestly thought I might pay a little for the visit. Instead, the conversation quickly changed into extractions and thousands of dollars worth of dental work. Before I had even spoken thoroughly with the dentist about all my options, I felt rushed to make decisions and pressured to move forward immediately. I repeatedly asked to take the paperwork home so I could review it with my family and make an informed decision. But I felt pressured to sign everything on the spot to get the help to relieve my pain. During the examination, I was gagging on the material and there was nowhere proper for me to rinse, spit, or even clear my mouth. I even had to ask for water and mouthwash and was handed a cup to spit into. The entire experience made me feel uncomfortable and unsanitary. And let me share, this experience happened right here in Virginia, right here at a dentist's office. What upset me most was that I was verbally reassured that if I changed my mind, I would receive my money back. I went in thinking I was going to get help to relieve the pain and left with the pain and charges totaling thousands of dollars. Another important part of the story is that I had an upcoming medical procedure and only had a short time frame to complete any dental work. I explained this clearly. I was assured the work could be completed within that week. However, after my payment was processed, I later discovered the office would actually be closed during the exact week they promised the work would be done. After that, I repeatedly called and emailed requesting my refund. I could never talk with anyone at the office, only their answering service. Instead of addressing my concerns, I received what sounded like an automated appointment confirmation saying you're all set. I remember thinking, all set for what? to return my money? At that point, I lost trust completely and realized I am a victim of ageism or a scam. I decided to seek a second opinion from another dental office. The difference was night and day. The other office was clean, professional, transparent about pricing, and never pressured me into making any immediate decisions. Most importantly, they were able to repair my tooth without requiring all the extensive procedures that I was pushed into before. Looking back now, I truly felt misled by this entire experience. I do not enjoy conflict, and I never wanted to take my frustrations public, but I also believe people deserve honesty, transparency, and respect when seeking medical or dental care. I just wanted to share what happened to me and hope no one else feels pressured, unheard, or taken advantage of while already dealing with pain and vulnerability. This was horrible. No one should have to go through this. And that is so right. This was horrible. No one should have to go through this. In discussing this situation with a colleague of mine, he shared with me that if you are ever in a situation like this, and well, even before I say that, I just want to thank you for sending in this letter to us for us to be able to share with our listeners. This is something that happens all too often with people. And you don't just have to be elderly. You could be in pain. You could be overwhelmed. You put your trust, you think you're going to a reputable place. You put your trust in that doctor, that physician, whoever you're going to see, and they don't have your best interest at heart and they take advantage of you. So this could have happened to anyone. So I really thank you for sharing this with me. Now, I discussed this letter with a colleague about what happened, and they shared with me, they're an attorney, so they shared with me, one thing that you can do is tell them that you're going to file something against their license. So if you're ever in a situation and someone is taking advantage of you, physicians, realtors, these people have licenses. They answer to someone else, and nobody wants a complaint against their license. So in this case, this wasn't, a spammer who's sitting in a room behind the computer just trying to scam someone, where it may be kind of difficult at that point to get your money back or try to get something for what happened to you. This is a legitimate company. They have a license. And if, you can file against their license, you can file something at the Attorney General, the Better Business Bureau. Here in Virginia, we have 12 on your side. You can write to the TV station. Let them know what's going on, that there are people taking advantage, and share your story. And also, if you paid by credit card, dispute the charge with your credit card. Now, I'm not saying this. No one wants to have something put against their license, but we can't tolerate people taking advantage of our loved ones, taking advantage of the elderly when they're supposed to be providing good service. So these are some of the options that you do have. And one of the biggest ones that was shared with me is that you can go ahead and look up the medical board, find that doctor, and file a complaint against their license. Someone at that time is going to investigate, and you probably will get a call back. So I thank you again for sharing this with us. Elder financial exploitation happens when someone improperly uses an older adult's money, property, identity, or asset for personal benefit. Sadly, the person who's taking advantage of the person is usually someone they know, someone they trust, or even a family member. And this happens so many times. You have to be mindful. You have to look out for that loved one. It could be a caregiver. It could be a contractor. It could be just an actual scammer. I mean, we all have gotten scammed. Someone calling, I'm not saying we got scammed, but have probably had someone called who was trying to scam us. One of the big ones I think I mentioned before was when they would say, I'm calling about your computer warranty. Do you have a Dell computer? Do you have a Mac computer? Your warranty is about to expire. That was a big scam that was going on. There's IRS scams. They're sending text messages about you have taxes due. There's package scams. I get those a lot. UPS, FedEx. They're not them. They're saying they're them, and they're saying you have a package. Please complete this information. Your package has been out here. No. Then my mom had told me about a story a long time ago about a caregiver who was taking advantage of a family member, and they didn't know, stealing from them. These are people who you bring into your home and you trust them, and they're trying to exploit your loved one. So these are people we have to be aware of. We have to be aware of neighbors, relatives, and online fraud. And it's just the world we live in now. There's nothing about the person. These scammers, they throw out scams. They look for weaknesses. They try to say, oh, well, this person maybe doesn't have a lot of people that may be checking on them, or maybe they do. This person is more independent. They prey on that trust, and then they try to take advantage. Many elderly individuals grew up in generations where trust and verbal agreements were common. But in today's world, it requires a different level of caution. So let's look at some of the early warning signs to be aware if someone you know may be involved in some type of scam. Watch for them being more isolated, like they may restrict information from you because they may be embarrassed, or they may be being told, don't share this, or keep this between you and me. Someone else is controlling the communication. A parent that's suddenly withdrawing, very open, very outgoing, now more quiet, now more reserved. They may be fearful, or you may see like different reactions around particular people. They may be confused about their finances. These are all warning signs that we need to watch out for, because many scammers try to create isolation so they can manipulate. Like, look at that story. The lady who shared the story said she wanted to take the paperwork to her family members so that she could make an informed decision. But they pressed her to sign that paperwork then before she could even make that decision. And by the time she left, they had already charged her thousands of dollars, not giving her any service. They let her sit there in pain. All these things to manipulate the situation. Sometimes exploiters, they discourage family involvement. They answer questions for the parent. They intercept mail. They control the transportation, and they pressure individuals emotionally. They prey on that emotionalism. And sometimes even they prey on them being embarrassed by the situation. One thing I would tell my loved ones is, one, if somebody calls you, it doesn't matter if that number looks like it's coming from one of your saved numbers. Before you give information out to anyone, you need to call them back. You need to call back the number, like if it's a credit card person, call back the number on your statement or on the back of your card. It doesn't matter if it comes in as a saved number. You never know, because in this day and age, when you have spoofing, when one time there were emails going out and you would think the email's legit. It says that right person or that right company, but that scammer has spoofed the email to make it look like it's coming from the right person, and it's not, only to get your information. Well, they do that on the phone too. They may call you and you answer the phone and they say, if you don't take care of this, you're going to be arrested. You're going to be audited. Well, a wise person told me they're not going to arrest you over the phone. Feel free to hang up that call. If it is something legit, someone's going to come to the house. There's at least going to be a letter sent. Feel free to get off that call. Don't feel pressured because someone is making threats over the phone. And if that happens, call someone who you know that can help you, a family member. Call the police station and let them know what's going on. If it's the IRS that says they're calling to arrest you and do all those things, which they don't do, go online, find that IRS number, call the IRS and find out. We have to be okay to say no. We have to be okay to find out more information. Because if not, we could be involved in a scam where they're taking thousands of dollars for you, where they're taking your home from you. And sometimes we're like, no, I know better. That's not going to happen to me. But these scammers are sophisticated. Sometimes they are studying you. They're researching people in those situations. They are trying to exploit those vulnerabilities. So we have to be all right to say no and get some help. Another major warning sign is unexplained financial changes. If you see sudden withdrawals from an account, unpaid bills, despite you know there's adequate income, those bills have been being paid before, unusual wire transfers, and in this day and age, Cash App, Zelle, you have to look out for all those things too. These scammers will manipulate. They will prey on who they think your vulnerability is, and they'll ask you, oh, can you Cash App me some money? Can you Zelle me some money? Can you give me permission to do it for you? Look for any new loans, missing possessions that they may have once had, changes to deeds or titles, unexpected credit card activity. Many families discover problems only after significant financial damage has occurred. So it's very important to discuss, to monitor accounts, to ask that loved one, has anybody reached out to you for any money recently? Share with them about any upcoming scams that have been going on so that they're aware. If you get a text message, loved one, don't click on the message. If you get an email that says you have to respond now, or they're going to shut down your bank account, or one that was going on one time, if you didn't respond, they were going to take money out of your account. This transaction has happened. And if you don't respond now, we are going to freeze your account. Nobody wants their account frozen. So you go and you apply, and you go and you respond. And by doing that, you're giving them authorization to access your account. And now they're taking money out of your account. Or they're telling you your account has been breached. The fake bank calls and says your account has been breached. We need to close out this account and open you up a new account. And you're all, thank you for sharing that with me. And you go on to close out that good account and open up the other account, which you find out later is fraudulent. You transfer your money over there. And then now you realize you've transferred your money to the scammers. And when you call back the bank to find out, well, where's your money? They say they never did this for you. They never authorized this. These are all very common scams, but the way that they are initiated make them feel so real. So we have to be mindful of this. Monitor accounts. Have an alert that not only goes to your checking your phone or your email, but also goes to that loved one. So you both are checking balances, making sure things look okay, especially in this day and age. Review statements. What's this charge? Why is this money coming out? Organize your important paperwork. So we shouldn't, if your family member, if your loved one does not know where money is or what has happened, find out. Don't just accept the confusion. Take the time to find out what's going on, because you never want a loved one to be a victim of a scammer. Now, another real common one, sadly, is overpaying for repairs. Contractors come, they may see you have a nice house, and they look like they have money, and try to overcharge. This is a scam as well. Or they may see, oh, this is an older person, a more seasoned person. I'm going to charge a little bit more. They don't know any better, and explain all these things that you may not have knowledge of, or maybe you do, but because you need someone to do it for you, and then they overcharge you for repairs. They say unnecessary work needs to be done. There was a show on television, and what they were doing was they were scamming people. They were going in for saying there'd be like a water leak or something. Something was going on with the sink, the faucet. And when the contractor gets there, they are saying, no, there's a leak behind the wall. And what they would do is they would cause the leak so that they could charge you for the leak. Now, I want to believe that this would never happen in real life. That particular one was a TV show. But you would be surprised of the situations that I hear about when families need repairs, and one contractor will come and say, we need to rip out this wall. It's going to cost $20,000 to do it. And another contractor will come, both licensed, both insured, both doing work, and come and say, oh, no, you don't need to do that. All we need to do is cut a hole here, make the repair. It's going to cost you a couple $1,000s. The difference. You also want to look out for repeated emergency claims. Anyone asking for large upfront payments. So if they didn't do the work, do not give the money. Work has to be done first. And if they say, well, I have to buy the materials, that's why I need all this money up front, then you buy the materials. Lowe's, Home Depot, they will allow that contractor to go in and call you with the amount that needs to be charged for the materials, and they can bring you back the receipt. That's one way. Another way is you can go and buy the materials. Don't give large upfront payments to contractors, and especially those you do not know, you have not worked with, they have not been recommended. Make sure work is done first. And most contractors, they will do the work, and then they will charge you after the work is done. Now, and if there's something big that has to be done, there's a contract involved. The situation feels different. And that's when you can go ahead and get a loved one involved. Look at this contract with me. Does this make sense? Should I pay this money? Be very mindful about large upfront payments. And then pressuring elderly homeowners to get work done or do it now. A story was shared with me before. They had some work that needed to be done in the property, and the contractor was saying, I'll give you a deal. I'm going out of town, but if you allow me to do the work right now, I'll only charge you $1,800 right now. And when we heard about this, we were like, you have a home warranty. Why don't we call the home warranty first, where you only have to pay $100 for the deductible, and let's see what they're going to do before you give this contractor that says if you allow them to do the work right now, they'll give you a discount because they're going out of town, who was charging $1,800 for the work that needed to be done. Let's see what the home warranty says. If this is a legitimate contractor, when he comes back from vacation, the price shouldn't be too much different. The warranty did it. $100 deductible, and all the work that was needed was not needed. Some individuals sadly specifically target elderly homeowners because they assume that they're vulnerable or unfamiliar with pricing. A practical way to avoid this is get multiple estimates. I know it can be time consuming. Sometimes it can be like you don't even really have the time for that. You just need help. But if you can, get multiple estimates, compare those estimates, and make sure you're not being overcharged. Never rush large payments. If this is going to cost you thousands of dollars, there's always someone else who can do the work. Don't rush. Shop around. I know situations come in when someone's in pain, and that makes it a little bit harder because no one wants to be in pain, and everyone has different thresholds for that level of pain. But if there are large payments involved, don't rush. And involve a trusted family member. They used to have a show where when they were asking a question, you could phone a friend. Well, in this case, phone a friend. Phone a family member, an advisor, a pastor, somebody who can offer you some advice before you make that decision. And if that particular office or place is not allowing you to do that, they are not legitimate and you should not work with them anyway. You have to find somewhere else, because if they can be like that now, what will they be like later? Always verify licenses. You want to make sure that this person is reputable. Don't just go off of they have things hanging, they have licenses and certificates hanging on the wall. Verify the license. You can go right online to the license department in your state. Look for whatever profession they are. Type in their name and information and make sure they have a license. Pressure is always a red flag. We should never feel pressured. We have to make sound decisions that are financially good for us. If you feel pressured, it's always time to take a pause. One of the hardest forms of exploitation to discuss sometimes involves relationships, because there may be guilt there or threats of abandonment. And I'm talking about exploitation by a family member or caregiver. So this can be really hard for people to discuss. They can be pressuring for money or convincing someone to sign a document they don't understand. Sometimes elderly parents fear losing the connection with the loved one. They would rather lose the money or tolerate the unhealthy behavior because they don't want to lose the connection. And, this is where we have to be supportive and tread lightly, but still be that advocate for that family member. Because I know they may feel, what about loneliness, or what about the grief of vulnerability? But a loved one should never require financial sacrifice through pressure or fear. They should not feel that they're not going to be tended to or taken care of because they're not doing something that a caregiver or a family member wants. And we have to look out for this manipulation that can be done. Scammers are increasingly targeting seniors through phones, emails, online scams. Like we discussed a little bit, that fake IRS call or the fake grandchild emergency. There's romance scams. There's fake tech support. There's fake Medicare scams or fake charities. Explain this to your loved one. Tell them that these scammers are there trying to create urgency or fear or confusion, emotional pressure. Create a safe word that if someone is requesting money that's a family member, so-and-so, if someone ever calls and they say they're calling for me, they will have this safe word so that you can send this money and everything will be okay. Share these scams, share these things that are going on. We will probably pick up this conversation, if not next week, one of the weeks ahead, because there's so many different things that we need to think about when it comes to scammers. Our elderly family members deserve more than just care. They deserve protection, dignity, honesty, and respect. And sometimes one of these conversations can prevent a crisis. If today's conversation gave you clarity or encouraged you in some way, we invite you to connect with us. Visit bearsheetcorporation.org or email us at bearsheetcorporation.org. Follow us on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube. Reach out to the radio station for more conversations focused on building stability, preserving legacy, and strengthening the communities. Thank you for spending this time with us today. This is Bear Sheet, building stability, preserving legacy, and strengthening the communities we call home. Join us next time as we continue conversations that help families move forward with clarity, confidence, and dignity.